Yes, indeed. How's it going, guys? It's a release day. You can see iPhone's doing a good job, but it's getting pretty dark out. So making a late video, early next video, any way you look at it. Um, wanted to get something off my mind. I've been trying to make a video about this for a while now, but like I said, release day. I work in development. This one was supposed to be a bit special because usually we're done pretty late. We don't have all of our shit in order yet, and we're pretty optimistic that we got so many of our tasks done on time, kind of sometimes ahead of time, that maybe we can wrap it up early, right? So well, this was kind of early for us, but it was still nowhere near like regular work hours, so we finished up around 8. The moral of the story is that you just can't predict the unpredictable, right? So Aristotle said, even though I think he's kind of an idiot, for the things we learn by doing, we learn by doing them. Sounds like the most commonsensical, straightforward, like redundant saying, but you know, you would be surprised at how few people want to think of, like, actually kind of take it at its face value. So there's always this hope, right? People are very hopeful creatures that will, no, this time's going to be different, that time's going to be different. Call it hope, call it delusion, whatever you want to call it. Just don't call it love. It's a nice song, by the way, 07. Yeah, anyway, this is not what I wanted to make a video about, actually. I wanted to make a video about, it kind of ties into this thing maybe later, about doing what you love. So, you probably have heard this, that I forgot one of the founding fathers it was, but he said, find a job that you love and you won't have to work a day in your life. Sounds very persuasive, right? Like, I mean, you got me, and I thought it was a very logical thing. If you were doing what you want to do rather than just doing a job, it doesn't feel like a job. It feels like your calling, or it feels like something that you can lose yourself to. And it's a tempting proposition, but I think it gets a lot of people in trouble. It's a very big marketing tool for universities to try to get you to take all these useless subjects you think you love, or you think you're interested in. Now, how about this, man? Like, think about it this way: if that statement, this idea that, like, do what you love, go to school, go learn what you love to do, and get a job in what you love to do. If that made sense, right? If that was an actual thing, why aren't there skateboarding classes in university? Why isn't there I don't know, like PC gaming class? People are doing a lot of things they love, but there's not really an avenue for them to make money in. Actually, it's becoming less and less likely. People are making money playing online, games online. People are making money videotaping themselves doing what they like for example, biking, skateboarding, building houses out of sticks, and this kind of stuff. So there's definitely an opportunity out there, but I still think it's not a correct way to approach, to make a decision like that. That's supposed to be your lifelong, um, what would you call it? A decision that's your lifelong fruits of your labor, which means, like, you want to make a decision based on what you love as a kid. But I would say you're still a kid before you go to school, and then kind of like stick with it for the rest of your life. Well, thank God you don't have to that much anymore, but a lot of people did. So they're like, what the fuck do I love? So the problem with it, obviously, one is that you can love a lot of things, you don't get to do a lot of things. Not professionally, you don't get to, shit, hold on. Goddamn mosquitoes. Anyway, yeah, you don't get to do them professionally. You don't get to have a job as a baker, as a, okay, yeah, most people don't, all right? And at the same time, I think what's a bit more depressing is that you might not love anything really all that much that you want to devote your life to. That's why we kind of just settle for a job where, like, honestly, I don't. Yeah, I mean, this is fine. That's nice. I like to eat. I like to dance. I like to all these things. I don't know if I'm gonna do this day in and day out. Like, imagine when you want to think about doing something for the rest of your life. You want to kind of put yourself in a mindset where, like, you're waking up, you're thinking about this, you're doing it, and you basically go to sleep doing it. Like, work-life balance really is a myth that they sell to workers who are already not in the boat where they're doing what they love. Like, this is something that you can justify spending a majority of your day on. Like, people work in customer service. They don't want the employer would have them there all day, but a lot of them don't want to be there all day. So we come up with these terms that kind of alleviate some of the issues that we are facing with, like, work-life balance. And the fact is that the work-life balance is heavily skewed on the work side. Now, the more even sinister. So that was depressing, right? Like, if you don't find anything you love. Like, I've been looking around for things I wanted to do, and I found a lot. So I was kind of on the opposite side. I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, but, like, I realized that no one was really going to pay me for it. I wasn't going to be considered an expert in a lot of these fields. I think YouTube is kind of good in this sense, but then YouTube itself sort of becomes like the job. Like, you don't just get to do or say the things that you want to talk about. You have to spend a lot of time. God dang it, man. You gotta spend a lot of time making videos, editing them, shooting them, reshooting them, and so on and so on. But all that's really okay, if I'm being honest. Like, you can think about it, you can be like, oh, whoa, this makes sense, or you can say that, like, oh, that's kind of, you're making a big deal out of it. But I think the worst application for this is when schools come into play. They come to school, like the university or college reps, they come to, like, high schools. They indoctrinate kids with this idea. They get them to, like, because they know, like, how do you persuade a kid to go to school? They're already not liking school. Like, kids want to skip all the time. They want to do all this stuff. So then you have to say, like, how do you persuade kids to go to school? So you say, oh, by the way, it doesn't have to be like it is here, because you are all dying to get out of school. But what's going on is that, find something you want to do, come over, we'll hook you up, you're going to have a good time. And what's best is, once you're done with us, you're basically going to be set up to do this thing for the rest of your life. So just, what do you like to do? You like to draw? We'll make you a drawer. You like to paint? We'll make you a painter. You like to write? We'll make you a writer. You want to do science? We'll make you a scientist. Do I have to say more? And you could say that, like, well, no, the scientists get jobs. General scientists? I don't know. Specialized scientists? They have a hard time because they're too specialized. But you gotta do something. Like, see, that's the catch-22. Like, you can argue all you want about, what do I love? What do I love? What do I love? Like, see, that's again why it's, like, not a worthwhile question to keep asking yourself. Maybe you can ask yourself that once, answer it 3 times, and then you just gotta roll the dice. Like, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? Just do fucking something. Because the bottom line is, you're gonna have to do something. This is what we're experiencing. What happens when people are bored? People are bored, and riots happen, lockdowns happen, stagnation happens, and I wish it wasn't like that, but just that's the way we are. That's the way the world is. We haven't educated our kids in how to grow up to be proper adults, and how to avoid pleasure, defer pleasure, how to defer gratification, how to absorb some anguish, how to be resilient. We just tell them, like, do this, and then there's going to be a shit ton of products that you can buy to make your life easier, and also save some money, because you're probably going to need it. Bye. It's not cool. It's not cool at all. But you know, it, when it comes to when it comes to these things, these persuasions, we're doing a really shitty job at school. I don't know how many schools are guilty of this, but from what I'm seeing, based on people, a lot of them are, is that we're not teaching kids rhetoric early enough. It's not a hard thing to teach. Trust me. If you start teaching this thing early enough, the people will develop a sense for it. Just like kind of almost everybody is capable of speaking. Yeah, they don't really understand language on the same level. Maybe some of the less fortunate people, but they'll have an understanding, because look, rhetoric is being kind of introduced later on in universities, and only if you take certain university courses, like this idea of like breaking it down, how it's being put together, and having like real world examples of how it's being used in real world and how effective it can be. Because find a job that you love and you haven't worked a day in your life is an amazing piece of rhetoric. It's absolutely brilliant. It's so successful. Like, I'm sensitive to it, and even I fell for it because I wanted to fall for it, right? Because I was a lazy bum. A lot of young kids are, and you'll get them, man. You'll get them. And that's one of the things that I don't like about this thing. You're going and you're sending in these reps to talk to people about making life choices fueled by rhetoric. Like, hey, I'm not the kind of guy that wants statistics for everything, but show me something. Show me where you're getting this. Jesus, show me where you're getting this information from. That like, oh, all of a sudden I'm gonna be this happy young buck who loves reading books. Like, I went to school. Like, you're probably gonna pick up on a pattern that like, oh, is it just me fucking being resentful about some of my life choices? And yes, but I think you can learn from some of these choices, because I've been learning from them my whole life, and I couldn't believe some of the mistakes I made, because I was in this trance. Like, when you're in it, it's very different being a player and being a coach. You can coach yourself, but a lot of times when you're in the game and you're in it heavy, you can't do both effectively. Your brain doesn't have that level of multitasking. So you should be a coach at some point. Like, take a step back, move away from the life that you're living, reflect, and see what's going on. So like, look, I mean, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to school for English. And I said, look, man, this is fucking amazing. I could do this. I said, yeah, I could do this, no problem. And I liked it. I said, okay, look, I'm obviously not going to be a full-time writer. No one's really going to probably pay me for that. But I can teach English, so I can become a teacher, and in my spare time I can do writing. For whatever the fuck reason, I didn't do teaching. But in my mind, I still had this vision of myself that, like, look, I'm going around, I'm this dude going to university, I'm going to be reading books. And like, who the fuck is gonna pay me for reading books? Like, you can't even be a successful YouTuber doing this kind of stuff, right? So it goes to show, just can't let your feelings carry you all over the place. Yeah, you want to be distracted. Yeah, you want to be comforted. Yeah, you want to be satisfied. Yeah, you want to be happy. But just because someone tells you do this, be happy, that's not how this world works. Not at all. So what is a good advice to go to for a career, I would say, and for just a job? Well, I like I said, I do development now, and it's still not something that I like doing, if I'm being honest with myself. Like, I'm okay at it. I enjoy the team I work with, and I can do it. I still would. There's a part of me that still would rather be doing something else that maybe I was too stupid not to do. But you must always have a technical skill. See, being a leader, being a creative, being a fine artist, being an inspirational speaker, any of these things, they're very good and they're very valuable, and you will find that they're going to become even more valuable once you've proven yourself uh, as some kind of a technician, like you're in a line of work that you're in. Let's say you're a scientist, you're a developer, you're a teacher, anything, because then you can elevate yourself above the rest of your peers, and you can be the leader, or you can be the seer, or some kind of a consultant. You want to look at it, who they turn to. But you gotta have technical skills in this day and age. You have to submit yourself to some rigor, and you have to submit yourself to putting yourself outside of your comfort zone. There is no question in my mind that is healthy for you. Look, you can get lucky and you can start a YouTube career and you can be amazing at it, and you may never ever ever have to do math. Like I said, you're gonna be taking your bets, chances. It's not gonna be for everyone. And hey, what's wrong with having a nice little backup? Like, you gotta also like think about the lifespan of your of the vocation, of the career, if you want to call it that way, right? Like, some things won't last forever. People like in UFC, they know they have a very limited, for it's even, I think, shorter than some other sports. Soccer, or like all these pro athletes, they know they have a very very limited lifetime. They gotta make the most possible. Like models, same idea. And even for me, for example, like a web developer, like this is a technical thing, but the technology moves so freaking fast. I don't even know if I'm gonna have a job in a couple of years. This job maybe, but I have some technical knowledge, and I have shown myself, I think, to be a person that can take technical knowledge and apply it to real world needs. Because these needs that you think you love and you want to do and you have passion for, they're there. But just oftentimes the path to them isn't exactly straight. You don't get to go from being a kid to going to university and then becoming a I don't know, motivational speaker, leader of a movement, or a guru or whatever. You can, but that's not an intelligent way to look at it. Look, if you, by the way, I think a really an intelligent way to look at it is to say, just to have a good self-assessment of how good you are. For example, me, I was getting constantly good feedback about a lot of things, but I kind of was downplaying it, like, nah, 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 nah. I was just too much of a coward. But you have to gauge how good you are at something that you're doing, first of all by doing it, but second of all by the feedback from others. Oh, is everybody telling you, giving you praises for what you do? Um, is I don't know what to say, like your kind of like family giving you praises, like people who you don't like, are they even telling you you're good at it? That's a good tell, but I just think overly simple solutions cause really nasty problems, and sometimes you can dig yourself in a hole that you have to learn how to dig yourself out of. But you know what? Life's an experience, and you're gonna have to learn one way or another. Some mistakes are worth making, but sometimes you should be aware that, like, look, this could backfire, but I know I have a plan B, C, and D. Anyway, it's getting pretty dark and scary. Oh my gosh, guys! Now the bats are gonna start coming at me. But never let the gloominess of my tone sometimes take away from the fact that, like, you gotta be an optimist. If I wasn't an optimist, I'd be in a ditch somewhere. But I'm an optimist because I think things are constantly improving. It's now better than ever. One of the best times to be alive. And even this thing with COVID and how much crap it kind of caused for people, I think there's going to be a lot of good coming out of it. I think we may take a step back. We may take a few moments to see what is it that we love to do, right? As a society. I don't know where you're at, but where I am, it's I didn't, you know, it's a top metropolitan city, like one of the biggest and most popular in the world, so Toronto. But man, this life was. I couldn't believe that this is what one of the best cities in the world had to offer, man. It's just jumping from a venue to a venue, from a venue to a venue, and the venue can be anything like mostly home, another person's home, bar, movie theater, home, bar, movie theater, home, bar, movie theater. Like 90% of people's restaurants, sorry, home, bar, movie theater, restaurant, home, bar, movie theater, restaurant, home, bar. I was like, holy fuck, is there interest to do anything else? And now with this lockdown, I can see there's more people out. There's more, bikes on the road. There's just the pace is, I think, a little bit more sane. Hopefully, jeez, hopefully this trend will keep going. But one thing I can say is that the city is not prepared for something like this. This is not a walkable city. This is like a very American, what do you call it? What's a freaking, like a very urban, suburban kind of construction where, fuck, I forgot the word, I knew the word. A city where it's all built around cars, and like you can tell just the way the city is built here is that it's meant for you to go from A to B as fast as possible, get your money, get your beer, and go home and just go do some work at home, have some friends over or something. But it would be nice to have something that's a bit more social, outdoorsy, walkable, bikeable, So maybe people will get to do what they love a bit more. But sometimes it takes a few hiccups to get there. Anyway, all the best, people, and the next one.